right, my friends. Hello, welcome today. Look at this. We're getting deeper and deeper down that rabbit hole. And we're going with some focus and transitions. Okay, better yet, or AKA, how to keep your viewer's eye where you want it to be. Okay, so today, a bit deeper down the motion design rabbit hole, talking about focus with a focus on transitions. Okay, yeah, some really important stuff here, mainly because especially when you're starting out as a designer, you may not have the best motion design skills. You may not have cracked the code when it comes to getting that thing exactly the way you want it to. But there are a few simple techniques, straightforward techniques, that can raise up your work to the next level. Okay? And it's about tracking viewers' eyeballs. So let's have a look at one of the big ones here. The big players in town. Patrick Clare he's an award-winning motion designer, does lots of opening titles for film and TV and video games. And he says, he has this great quote about, people are always looking within the frame. They're always looking at something. So if you can chart where your audience eyes is moving, where they're going to leave one image and pick up another image, and really make that journey interesting and engaging. Let me try that again. And understand the pace and rhythm, then you'll be able to do a piece of work that engages people. So this is, you'll remember a holdover or a repeat of what I ended with last time, when we're talking about composition and setting up your time-based story. Okay, where a person looks and how easy it is for them to find things really does make a difference. So in this case here, this is Westworld's opening titles. And really, if you remember Westworld and the opening title sequence, he just lazily, goes from scene to scene. There's motion everywhere, left, right, up, down, and each cut, the highest point of contrast and the most motion is exactly where your eye is. So you, the viewer, don't have to do a lot in that case, and that's the point. Whereas some of his other work, and you'll see in a second, it really can make a massive difference to either put your viewer's eye in the right spot or purposely not, and just have a chaotic result. So let's go look at a few examples. This is Melina Poire, who did the trailer for the Motion Festival. Let's have a look. Everything you'd need in a typography-based world here. So that's a high energy one. This is a great one from Brando Herty Johnston, talking about happiness. Let's have a look. Beautiful plays with geometric shapes there. Really love that one. And yeah, as it's going, you can chart where your eye goes and how much work it has to do, and it's really not a lot. Let's have another look here. This is more of a PSA or an advertisement style. And just keep track of where you need to look and where things and how we transition from shot to shot, from scene to scene.
You may have heard that America's in the midst of a blue-collar boom, and the 50 million Americans that lace up every morning, one boot at a time, are making it happen. But what does that mean for you, the tradesmen, the hard-working folks building and driving America? It means your skills are more in demand than ever. It means the time is now to grab the bull by the horns and take control of your career. It's time to join the millions of your fellow skilled workers in Boomnation. Boomnation is the world's first digital community for tradesmen and truckers aimed at enhancing your career by connecting you with new career opportunities that will increase your compensation and allow you to control your career path and trajectory. Boomnation connects the high-demand skilled worker with employers seeking those skills, all in an easy-to-use mobile app. No more long job applications, no more faxes or 1-800 numbers. Just the jobs you want at the wage you deserve. Join Boomnation today and see what kind of opportunities you've been missing out on during this blue-collar boom. Boomnation, the app for the working man or woman. One nation under boom.
Really love the work in there. It's, I love the mashup of styles, the sort of photo collage, the faux 3D, live action, all this grit, absolutely fantastic, and also changes in hierarchy and leading lines and stuff. So I'll come back to it, but one of the big ones is right about here. Hold on for it. Wait for it. This one there. So yeah, present the idea and then change its hierarchy. So talking about all this cash comes in your face and then goes off to the side, and we introduce another element there. So keep that in mind. Let's look at a couple more here. This is Fable, sort of introduction to the this web-based platform, which is quite awesome. Kind of feel like I want to check that out. But yeah, the use of match cuts in there and morph style transitions is just I mean it's pretty standard in motion design to have one thing turn into another, and that's why we did our morph assignment. But something like this, you see that we go from the face to a book, and because the motion matches and because the colors somewhat match and the size and placement, and there's follow through and anticipation, your eye is just fine with being led there. Let's have one more look by Sander Van Dijk, who did material designs, sort of show opener.
Design is more than pushing pixels. It should help solve problems. Design is a way of thinking, an exploration to discover what works best. It requires collaboration with your team and the people you're building for. Design is a shared language, made up of elements that speak to each other clearly and are flexible down to every last detail. Design is never done because we live in an ever-changing world. Material design is a unified system, combining theory, resources, and tools that help you and your team get to the heart of the solution together. Design is more than...
Nice little play there. Absolutely gorgeous. And then, speaking of gorgeous, is the last one. I'm not going to play it all the way through, but just note that it's just an absolute beautiful dream. This sort of poem or manifesto of finding your light, finding you.
난 방향을 잃은 자그마한 나침반. 그런 나에게 세상의
And while you're
반짝임을
watching, just keep in
새로운
mind what your
방향으로
eye is doing and where
빛이
it's looking,
되어주었다.
how things are coming and going from
시간이
scene
흘러
to scene.
의문이 생겼다. 나는 무엇인가? 무엇이 나를 반짝이게 하는가? 이러한 의문 속에서 결국 열정과 의욕은 나를 떠나가 버렸다. 난 더 이상 움직일 수 없었다. 그렇게
Yeah,
나는
just
심연 속으로.
absolutely gorgeous. I can't get enough of that one. Just found that one on stashmedia.tv, the Stash magazine for the magazine for motion design. Just beautiful stuff. And again, that holdover from my last lecture when we're talking about composition and specifically contrast, which then gives you tension, which when played with correctly you get this idea of rhythm. And anyway, beautiful rhythm in there. So yeah, just a few examples there that can get you going. And again, thinking about how things are moving within the screen. Okay, so Patrick Clare does it brilliantly. Let's move along. Let's get into Heirarchy. When you're getting into Heirarchy, okay, it doesn't matter how hierarchical the element is that you want people to look at. If there's something else that's moving, then our eyes will go there, okay? We just can't help it. Okay, so when introducing a scene, minimize the other motion, the non-essential information. So here's an example of Heirarchy. Oh, what? Where'd it go? Oh, wait. This was not supposed to be the way it is. OMG. Okay, here we go. So we got nothing. What are we going to look at? Oh, look over there. Oh, okay. So that was a failure of a test. But what you get here is you lose the information, right? Even though this is telling you to look here, it has the most hierarchy. It's really the only thing on the screen, the page. But there are these little floating, silly little stinker ball things that are getting our attention and taking away from it. Okay? So absolutely 100%, when you're introducing something, just have it as the main focus, okay? You can have supporting animation around it, but there should be that time. One side rule, or at least one piece of information I'll continue with, and I'll probably have to repeat quite a bit, is when they're saying until the action is clear. In our case, if we're doing any kind of like kinetic type stuff, what our main action is actually just informing you of what the word is, right? And placing the object there. It's sometimes called lull time, where you want your element to be on screen long enough for it to be consumed and legible and read, right? And a good rule to live by is you, the designer, when you put it on there, have it be on there for at least or for you to be able to read it 3 times. Okay? So in this case, obviously this doesn't work at all. But what we would do is we would say, look over here, look over here, look over here. And that would be enough time for us to get it. So let's go enable time remapping, and maybe I'll like take it to like this amount of time. So let's see now. Look over here, look over here, look over here. Yeah, pretty close, right? Maybe a little longer. Look over here, look over here, look over here. There we go. So you, the designer, because you know the words, if you say it 3 times, then someone else who's never seen it and doesn't know where to look, they'll be able to read it, consume it, and be okay with it. And that amount of time is a good rule to live by. Okay. Next up is changing an element's hierarchy. Okay, I talked about that in that Boomnation video, where you can change the focus from and introduce a new element by changing hierarchy. So changing an element's size, its contrast, its location, and how much it's moving. Okay. And then you can introduce new elements into the scene and focus the viewers on that element. The reason why I bring this up is because many times when people are learning this skill, they think that we should have the information on the screen and then immediately take it off as soon as the person is done speaking. Okay, you do not need to do that, and in fact, it's almost nicer to leave elements on the screen. So let's have a look at this one here. We'll look. We go. Oh, look over here. Oh, wait. No, what's that thing down at the bottom there? Okay. Again, because that element moved and got our attention, it's impossible not to look at it. Okay. So if I wanted to introduce something here, first of all, I wouldn't do it that soon. I'd give us a little more time. Another thing I would do is maybe change, let's go, I'll just take this and parent it. And so, yeah, so maybe in here, let's give us a little more time here. So something in here, I would take this, P for position, S for scale, or Shift S for scale. And then, yeah, maybe take that down a bit. Oh, I forgot to right-click, transform, center, anchor point, and layer content. The longest name for a menu item in the history of Adobe. All right, so we'll go down here and we'll scale that down just slightly. Maybe it even goes up and gives the bottom a little more space. Of course, we can F9 that bad boy. Okay, there we go. Maybe we'll overlap these a little more. And what else do I want to do? I want to change its opacity. So in this case, the easiest thing to do would be to hit T for opacity and bring that down. Maybe just a little bit, right? We still want it to be on screen. Opacity is not quite as important to Easy Ease, but since I'm there and it's so simple, I may as well do that. And then, yeah, maybe this thing we have it a little bigger. Maybe it gets a little bigger down there, and then maybe it doesn't go up, or maybe it goes up slightly higher, so we have a little better of an end result. So now we can see our information. It's great. It's still going to be there when we introduce this new element. Well, as soon as I muted, I didn't have to sneeze anymore. So you can see I'm changing the hierarchy. I'm leaving elements on the page up here so that it's more of a sort of sequenced dance style, motion choreography here. And instead of this thing just stopping or being shot off the page so it's gone, we just changed its hierarchy slightly, and that introduces this new element a whole lot easier. Okay. Yeah, and then same thing, you just with that, just look over here with the balls shooting around. Just give people one thing to look at, one main thing, okay? There can always be supportive animation around it. Maybe it's not moving as much. Maybe it's moving in the same direction, okay? Unless you break the rules and you have all kinds of craziness shooting around the page, and then it's in the middle or wherever you want it to be still, that would become your focus. All right. Okay, let's move on. This is probably the most important animation principle, anticipation. Beyond easy ease, which of course we know by now makes me cry if I don't see it. Anticipation. So when you get into character animation, it's important to use anticipation to help make things look realistic and abide by physics. However, for us, it's much more important to get the viewer looking where we want them to look, okay? And because we don't want them to miss out on any information. All right, abrupt and unexpected motion or movements leave the viewer attempting to decode what just happened instead of just being along for the ride, okay? So that's Tony White and Catherine Spencer in their great book, How to Make Animated Films. A couple more awesome quotes here. This one from Liz Blazer, who has that great book, Animated Storytelling. Top to bottom, it's an excellent resource, and I just like her. Without anticipation, your movement will feel robotic and flat, and probably more importantly here, which I should have bolded, is that the audience will sense that is the same for your story, and I like that because it's like, I don't know what it like. She's putting this kind of undefined, sort of magical element to it. I actually really like this quote, and this is from Mamoworld. They have an ebook with the longest name ever, but the ebook is really quite great, and they've got a good little quote here, is that you establish a relationship of trust, okay? The viewer isn't surprised by changes of focus, so they're more relaxed and can follow along easier, okay? So again, you're charting, you're giving people that time and space to see what's going to come next. So got one here. Let's see what's going to happen. Where should I look? I don't know. Oh, right there. Okay. One of the interesting things about having a text or any kind of object on for this amount of time, that's 3 long seconds. Okay, that's 300 frames. One of the things you get by about this point is that people start to look around, or to sort of, maybe there's other design elements that I have around here, and you go and you start looking at that. And so by having this little bit of anticipation, in this case I'm animating the tracking of the elements, and it's going really, really big, so that's my anticipation. And then we have our match cut and our follow through with that animation into a completely new scene. But because of that anticipation, you knew where to go and what to look at. Okay. Speaking of that Mamoworld ebook, they've got this great thing about connecting a scene. Okay. And so let's show the basic one. Okay, so you're literally just putting 2 compositions, one in the main spot, one way off to the right, and then you could parent one to the other and just animate its position to bring in the next one. Okay, but there's no anticipation, and there's no leading lines here. There's no nothing helping us. But with this, all that's happened is a line has been drawn. and it's been drawn from here, and it takes our eye over to that spot, and then we're okay with this next element coming in. And you can see by that it helps us know where to look, and it kind of acts like anticipation. Here's a great one. We want to keep going here. Anticipation is really, really important. I think, they've got a couple ones here. So anticipation, or this has no, or has it with it. So we have this, these two little blobs taking our eyes and pushing them down to the next bit of hierarchy, the next element they want you to look at. Okay, and the same without it, just doesn't feel quite as nice, quite as effective. Okay, so just those little tiny things can really, really make a big difference. Okay, anticipation, getting your viewer to look where you want them to look. All right, let's keep going with these big picture ideas. This is, I believe it's Finnish. Den röd tråd, which is a lot of fun to say. The common thread, or this idea of the connecting thread. In film speak, you can call it the leitmotif or leitmotif, which is the leading motive of the scene. What is the main action? Okay, and in our case, it's also called the red thread. In our case, what we can do is guide the viewer's eye around the page. We can do that with animated graphics, okay? Guiding the viewer's eye around the screen. Obviously, it's made more appealing with anticipation. Same thing for camera moves, and then breaking the rules. So let's look at an example of the red thread. Okay, so I've got this scene here. Where's the next scene gonna be? Well, it's right down there. Okay, and the idea here, and actually this is quite fun to build. Basically, what I have, if I scroll this up, I'll show you first the main comp, which is within here. If I double click it, you can actually see it's quite long. I've actually made it, normal width, but 3 or 4 times taller than what it is. I have just, throughout the whole thing, I have all of these little wispy lines. I have a nice gradient so that it allows, gives even more sense of going down. And really, all I have is a single line. If we go, I'll put on my controls. You can see I've just gone in with the pen tool and drawn out this line, and then I've used the trim paths effect to basically just animate this thing going all the way down, and then leading your eye into the text down at the bottom. I'll hit tab to go back, and then this comp here, if I just scroll out, you can see this comp is just being animated up. All right, and this, it's just the transition, or the journey from one spot to another is made just very easy, very straightforward, because of this nice simple graphic taking us there. Okay, so using elements to guide our eyes around really does make a big difference. It's a simple, straightforward way for you to get the person to look exactly where you want it to look. Okay. Anticipation, a huge one. Actually, let me go back to anticipation one more time, because I forgot about this Apple commercial, which I believe I've shown in class. Let's have a short look.
Sweet home Alabama.
So I just love. I mean, this whole thing is just masterful. But you know, our eyes don't have to do too much work, right? And then you get this one thing going to the left, and then we do a match cut, and we get this big anticipation, and then match cut to the water. So really, just absolutely gorgeous use of anticipation there. Okay. And yeah, makes everything that much nicer. So you can see all of these elements kind of blend into each other, right? You can call a red thread an anticipation where something moves over here and then we do a match cut. Well, that red thread that guided you there, okay? And that's a great use of anticipation. All right, let's keep going. Again, sort of blending into all of this is this idea of eye trace. And we're basically just using the motion of the element, the main motion, the main object, whether that's text or a person or a letter becoming a water balloon, to lead and influence the viewer's eye, okay? So we can do that with movement, framing, color, contrast, all kinds of great techniques here. There's a great article by School of Motion, as usual. Let's look at theirs. And I'll put all of these in the comment or the description below. Yeah, nice little work there. Okay, so eye trace is huge here, absolutely massive for this idea of, yeah, just like being able to know where to look and just putting you in that space. Okay, yeah, I really love this quote, and this is a good an animator School of Motion quote. As an animator, job's to make motion feel good, movement feel good, but as a motion graphics artist, your job is also to put your viewers' eyeballs in the right spot at the right time. Okay, especially the faster your cuts are, like that iPhone commercial, right? Making sure people are looking exactly where you want them to be. All right, so eye trace in animation is huge. Eye trace in video, in motion pictures, in film and TV is just as important. It's actually a massive part of editing and directing. So this guy, Walter Murch, has this amazing book, In the Blink of an Eye, where he comes up with a bunch of rules to edit by. Yeah, and I love this quote of gently prodding the attention, okay, looking at various parts of the frame, by how and where I cut and the images that I work with. Okay, there's an absolutely excellent article from Studio Binder, which does a bunch of excellent stuff and talking about how to edit effectively with eye trace. So yeah, the whole thing is fantastic. I do highly recommend. And he's got these rule of 6, and eye trace is one of those big ones in there. Okay, it really can make a massive difference from scene to scene. There's I mean, it's a big part of editing and of filmmaking. Yeah, where things are on the screen, whether it's symmetrical, flat, whether it's started here and is going there, where someone's going to look and where the cut is. It's all thought of, predetermined by the director, and then enhanced and massaged into life by the editor. All right, so big picture concepts here, focus with a focus on transitions. And of course, we know that transitions can be have many hats. Let's look at another excellent article from, here we go, from School of Motion, talking about essential motion design transitions. Okay, let's have a look at the overview. I apologize. Just realized we were talking about match cuts, which I've already chatted with you about. Yeah, why is it this one? Match cuts. It should be motion design. Not that one. It should be transitions. Yeah, weird. I don't know why it went to match cuts. Here, let's have a look. Gorgeous stuff. Okay, and then they have an entire article on all of those and how they work. So you can see, I mean, yeah, you can still approach this in a filmmaking type of way, right? You can make cuts and just go on to a new scene. You can do a dissolve, although that usually means time has has passed. Cutting on action really is the number one thing here. It's closely, almost intricately tied to match cutting, and yeah, you're just have a little anticipation with the thing going up. You cut and just have the same action, that follow through. Really nice, seamless, and beautiful. And then yeah, same kind of match cut where you're matching the actual shape and size of elements. That's where the next one is. All right, my friends. So yeah, one last sort of touching on transitions. Of course, we can make our transitions out of graphics, and so you look around on the internet. There's going to be 1,000 sites offering tens of thousands of different styles. This is Manuel Does Motion, or Manuel Does Motion. And he's talking about liquid wave transitions, particles, Netflix style zoom, which is pretty cool. Page flips, liquid splashes, wipes and lights and ink and glitches and screens. So yeah, have a look around out there in the world, folks. There are all kinds of ways that we can enhance the way we go from scene to scene, the way we introduce one element and then introduce another one. And if you think about tying those together in some consistent way, you'll have a much more successful end result. All right, my friends. So there you go, folks. I will leave that there, and we'll see you in class, and we'll look forward to seeing your ideas and how they come to fruition. All right. Thank you, and we will see you soon. Cheers.